Hello and welcome everyone to the future of AI and UX design and what it means for you. I am so excited about our guest today, Ioana Teleanu of UX Goodies. If you don't follow UX Goodies yet, you're going to want to after this presentation. UX Goodies has more than 200,000 followers on Instagram. And I have had the pleasure of working with Ioana for almost a year now. We have been doing all kinds of stuff back and forth. And I know how excited she is to share this presentation with you. So without further ado, let's get into what we are going to cover today. Ioana is going to share some examples, some insights, and some tips on how you can bridge AI and design together. Afterwards, we are going to answer some of your questions live. And just feel free to ask your questions in the chat, and we'll have Thomas there to moderate for us. So without further ado, I'll stop sharing my screen and pass the screen and the mic over to Ioana.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm gonna just start sharing my screen now.
Yay, it works. It works.
That's great. Yay. So before we dive into it, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody who joined. I'm humbled and very excited to be here and share my thoughts around the AI revolution we're all part of or witnessing. I think it's absolutely amazing that there's so much appetite and curiosity for this space for the intersection of AI and UX design. And I'm very happy that Hotjar invited me to just share my thoughts about what I'm seeing is going on right now. So thank you so much for joining. I'm going to start with two very quick disclaimers because I think it's important. The first one is that because we have 45 minutes for this conversation, I won't be able to dive very deep in a specific topic. So I will try to go to take you on a journey through the most important themes and topics and the most interesting things, but I want to encourage everyone to dig deeper in whatever it is we will be touching together today. So even if we touch the surface of many interesting things, I really recommend spending more time, investing a couple of hours or more in unpacking the things you find interesting. So that's my first piece of advice I'm starting with. And then the second one is that I don't want to position myself as an AI and design expert. I don't know who is, but I'm a person who has been reading, thinking, learning a lot. I'm working on a product that has AI, that's AI driven. And so I'm in this space. I've been immersed in this space since last year. So essentially how I see myself today is just collector of interesting things about AI and design, like a curator of ideas. So this is what's going to happen today. And the three main goals I have are to share with everyone what are some of the main ideas or main, let's say, school of thoughts or thinking about AI and design positions, let's say. So everybody kind of gets an understanding of what are some main things we can think of and learn about. I also want people to go home with something very tangible, and that's why throughout the presentation I'll be sharing interesting resources, pointing them towards different platforms that share deeper content about AI. So prepare your pencil and a piece of paper, take notes, because there will be a lot of recommendations. And then the last point is that I hope everybody leaves this conversation more excited than before and just happy to discover this unknown world together. So without further ado, before jumping into things, a quick intro about myself. I've been a designer. I started dabbling in UX design in 2014. I worked on a, let's say, startup kind of product within ING Bank, and I got to witness the product development process firsthand, get involved in all parts of it, and then essentially I settled into a UX design role. In 2018, I started learning more and more about UX design. I felt like there are so many frameworks, concepts. It was absolutely overwhelming. So I felt the need to sort of organize my learning efforts, synthesize them, distill the essence of different concepts. And so once I started doing it, I also shared it with the world. If one person finds it valuable, that's incredible. And so UX Goodies was founded, and it grew into this platform that some of you might know about. I'm very happy that it happened. I didn't plan for it, but because it happened, it opened the door for me to launch a UX bootcamp, have a Domestika course on how to get started in UX design. I have my own podcast called Honest UX Talk. So I'm doing a lot of things, creating content, but I'm also working as a designer. I've always held a full-time role, and on the side, I've explored freelancing, I've consulted agencies, I've been doing teaching, educational things, and also a lot of mentoring. And last year, I started working in the intersection of, at the intersection of AI and design. And this is happening within UiPath, which is my current employer. I've been with them for over 4 years. And I'm working on a product that's called Clipboard AI. And that essentially what it does, this is what the users described it as. It intelligently transfers data between systems. So we're basically trying to revolutionize the way people copy and paste information, which is a very basic command. But we're trying to add a layer of semantic understanding with machine learning by combining different machine learning models and essentially AI agents, and trying to help people just automate this task, which, like, you can imagine doing a lot of copy and pasting line by line. I hope we'll change that and the way people copy paste. But this is very excited. So when I joined this product, I had no understanding, no idea about what's going on in the industry. It kind of felt that something's going on. We were using GPT for this product before it was cool. And so I started to immerse myself in the AI space and understand what are the implications on the work I'm doing directly, but on the world in general. So we're all in the middle of AI momentum. I think everybody sort of knows it by now, because even if you open your favorite social media platform, you're going to get bombarded by AI content. Maybe half of it is about AI. I don't know. For me, it's just all of it. And so everybody's talking about AI. I found this meme pretty funny, and in a way, I'm guilty of it as well. Talking about AI, but I'm also pretty confident that I've read, like GPT read all the internet. I read all the internet when it comes to AI and design. And I hope I have some interesting thoughts to share with you. So yeah, we're in the middle of an AI revolution. It's a technological revolution. It's not the first one in history. Many people compare this to the birth of internet, which I think is very flattering. And I think it's pretty fair, a fair comparison, because I really believe that AI will change the way we work and the way we live in general. And it's already doing it. We're in the middle of this AI momentum where everybody's talking about AI. A lot of people are using AI. So I'm really interested in this area here. I think that this area should grow. Like, we all have, I wouldn't say a moral duty, but I think we owe it to ourselves to try to experiment and play around with what's going on. And a lot of people are already building for AI. So designing or building, they have been doing it not since yesterday when GPT was launched, but for a long time now. But it's really interesting that there's a wave of conversations that are happening. I think these conversations are really necessary, and that it's absolutely essential to our future to sort of come together and challenge what it is that we're witnessing, which is a revolution. Yeah, so, and I think what caused this, like, AI is not new. We've been seeing it in our products for a long time. But I think what made it super visible right now is the success of ChatGPT. We've all seen it. This is a graph that, if you haven't seen yet, it's been all over the internet. It took ChatGPT 5 days to reach 1 million users, and Netflix, for comparison, needed 3.5 years. So what this tells me is that the world is prepared now to ask these questions, to welcome AI as a society, as individuals, as product people and everything. So now there's this appetite. It feels like it's really a momentum that's bubbling up, and that we're lucky to be a part of, right? Because we get to contribute to how the world is evolving technologically. Okay, so what is AI? Just setting a common understanding, a definition that we can all refer to throughout this conversation. I want to take this moment to also make my first recommendation for this talk. Elementsofai.com. It's a course. I'm not affiliated with any of the things I'm recommending here. It's just my very honest recommendation on how to get started. Elementsofai.com is a free course about AI that will help you figure out what are the foundational elements, like have a basic understanding of what AI is. It helped me a lot, and now I want to just recommend it to everyone here and beyond. So AI is essentially a system that has autonomy and adaptivity. I'm always looking at the corner of the screen because that's where Nicole is. It's funny because I feel that that's where the person I'm talking to is. I can't really grasp the fact that we have 1,400 people here, so I don't know where to look, but I'm looking at Nicole. That's what's going on. Autonomy means that this system is able to perform tasks in complex environments without commands from the user. So without having someone constantly guiding and telling them, do this, now do this, now do this. So this is what it means when we say AI is autonomous. And adaptivity is it's the ability to learn and improve by learning from experience, by learning how people are using it, by learning from more data, by learning from different results it's getting, and so on. So AI is not new, like I was saying, it's just very visible right now, and I think that's great. I think it stems from a combination of curiosity and fear, and we're going to dive deeper into that. But we've seen AI in our lives for a long time now. We've seen it in our news feed where we get recommendations, personalized recommendations, face recognition. It's an application of AI. I'm not going to even mention self-driving cars. In the medical, so processing medical information, AI is heavily used already. So AI is with us. It's in our everyday life already, but now I think we're thinking about it more thoroughly, which is great. So it is changing the world. I'm an optimist when it comes to what AI can do for us. I do see the concerns. I also have some fears around it. Of course, we're going to touch on those as well. But overall, I think that the impact is positive. And if I reflect back on other moments in time when we've made technological progress at this speed, it felt like there was a lot of uncertainty, like the ground is being shaking. But I feel that in the end, it took us to a new level of how we work, and it made a positive impact. And AI is doing that as well. So on one hand, it's making us more productive because obviously it can automate menial tasks. It can create room for more creative and meaningful work and allow us to think more and be more creative and do whatever we feel is more rewarding in our work and everyday life. And essentially, AI can augment, and I want everybody here to take away this word. If it's one word, it's augment. So AI augments our capabilities, augments our work and what we are able to achieve. So it can augment our natural capabilities. It helps us make faster decisions, process a lot of data, extract insights, summarize. So it really helps us with the cognitive load that some thinking activities will require. And so it's just a way of allowing us to think better and create better. And it's a partner we can co-create with AI. It's a brainstorming partner. Maybe some of you have experimented with brainstorming with ChatGPT and so on. And in this making of our lives better, it creates new businesses, new roles, new design challenges for us to solve. And essentially, it's a new type of innovation. And I know that this particular point, the third one, is a bit controversial because it can be debated. Like, okay, it creates new businesses, new roles, but it can also replace a lot of roles. So maybe there's going to be more replacing than creating. But I think, again, these fears, we've seen them throughout history. And in the end, it ended up creating a societal setup that feels like a progress, right? In the way we can, in the things we know, like we learn so much thanks to the internet. Bad things happen because of the internet, but mostly progress. And two things that are not particularly related to design or it's the revolution in medical care, which I think is amazing. I've been to South by Southwest and attended a talk where they were talking about the combination of quantum computing and AI and how we can essentially simulate the world. And the example given was, what if in COVID we could precisely predict who's going to be the next person who's going to, I think they had a similar experiment in Israel, but we could predict who's going to get sick next and then isolate just one person, not everybody, and have a map of, it's a bit scary privacy-wise, but it could also help save lives, which I think at the end of the day is more important than anything. And it can also fight misinformation, also debatable because it can also spread misinformation. But if we understand together as an industry, and especially as designers, how to use AI in our best interest, in a positive, in an ethical, as a force of good, then we can decide together to put guardrails and to create the safety boundaries in which AI can essentially do much more good than bad. And for designers specifically, let's start diving deeper in what it means for designers. AI will not replace us. A person using AI will. I think you all seen this spread around the internet. It's still a powerful line to think about, even if it's overused, let's say. And I do feel that AI is a partner that will augment what we're already doing. And I don't see it replacing us, just to maybe address some of the concerns that we're going to be out of jobs soon as designers, because AI will produce UI design like 10 versions in 2 minutes. It's happening. But why I strongly feel that, at least for the foreseeable future, near term, midterm, we are not replaceable for a couple of reasons. So AI can't yet figure out what problems to solve because AI doesn't really understand context. We're in the age of narrow AI where an AI agent knows how to do one thing. So essentially, it can solve one type of problems. It's true that there's a lot of experimenting with putting different AI agents together and then having a overseeing AI agent that tells them how to collaborate to achieve to perform complex tasks and to solve complex problems. We'll probably see AI collaborating, but right now it's pretty narrow. It's like, let's say, a one-trick pony per problem. So it can't yet say, I understand that this person with this background, with this experience, with this psychology, with these feelings, with this environment, like, put all the pieces together and understand what's the problem that this person needs solved. So this is where designers will not be replaced anytime soon. We are the ones who identify problems, and we are the ones who can articulate them and unpack that problem space with the help of AI if we want that, but AI can't do it by itself. And any design solution and any design process, it requires multidisciplinary effort. So you need to put together understanding human psychology with understanding perception of surfaces and interactions, with understanding the environment, with understanding different dynamics. And so it's a pretty complex task. And indeed, again, there might be some collaboration between AI agents, but it's far from it being reliable and emulating how a person could apply critical thinking, systems thinking to put together things and collaborate with other people to solve problems. So that's something very sophisticated that will not be easy to emulate anytime soon. AI lacks empathy. For a long time, I was a hater with the word empathy. I felt like everybody was using it. It's super abused. I don't even know what it means anymore. But I think in the age of AI, it means a lot now, because it's like, I think, quintessential to what we are as humans. And I think we are, I mean, one of our core traits or superpowers that can't be that artificial intelligence doesn't have is that I can understand that you, Nicole, for example, have feelings, and I can imagine and I can relate your feelings to some of my experience. And this is something that computers won't do anytime soon. Maybe in the age of AGI, so artificial general intelligence, maybe we could see them faking it, but it's still going to be fake. We have empathy, and that's not something that artificial artificial intelligence can replace. So even and also the good understanding of human psychology. So even if they might seem to understand human psychology because they read all the books about human psychology, so they can make summaries and extract insights and see statistics and have a lot of knowledge on that, it's still the way you interpret. So the way you correlate all that knowledge with the human machine that has feelings, that has pain, suffering, trauma, and whatever. So artificial intelligence can't go there. Creativity is something that we also have in a very special way. This is a debatable point. You might argue that AI can definitely be creative in one aspect. So it can combine different concepts. It can recreate art from zero. We've seen it every day for the past year with Midjourney, DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, and so on. So creativity is something that seems to be achievable by AI, but in reality, we have imagination, which is not something that can easily be replicated. And we have that human spark that kind of, right now, if you go on the internet and you see an image generated by AI, you can kind of tell, okay, so this is an image that probably Midjourney created because it looks very stereotypical. It looks a bit boring, or it looks like something I've seen before. It doesn't have that spark that art has. And I don't think it will have it anytime soon. And it still needs a lot of guidance, and it has trouble understanding context. So we've all seen AI going wrong, and it hallucinates. It's not very reliable. This is because it's an infant technology, and probably it will get better and it will become more reliable. But right now, it can't really perform by itself very well. Okay, so let's dive even deeper into AI's impact on the design industry. I know this is what you're here for. And after spending so many months in this space and getting a bit of a burnout, intellectual burnout, I realized that for better clarity, I want to split this conversation in two main parts. The first one is that we will be designing for AI. So more and more of us will end up working on products that have at least an AI component or some feature that has AI capabilities and so on. So even the products we use every day, from Notion to Canva, they're adding AI. And so the people who are working for designing these products, they're essentially designing for AI interactions and so on. So many of us will be impacted in this very direct way. I'm also working on a product that's AI powered. So I'm working for AI. And then the second part, which is even more immediate, and it's already happening, we're already seeing it, we're designing with AI. And I think many of us here have probably tried at least one AI tool, whether it's an image generation tool or whether it's just ChatGPT. We can integrate AI in our everyday workflows, and many of us already are. And it's going to impact the design process, like the parts that can be improved and made more efficient, made smarter with AI. We should be doing that as an industry. So let's start with the first one. I'm going to just take one sip of water and then dive into what it means to design for AI. This is a very recent article. It came out on May 20th, which was last week. So Jacob Nielsen, the father of UX, just announced, and I think this will become, let's say, a classic article that will be referenced for future generations to come, because it feels like it's a historical moment in time that he's capturing here. AI is the first new UI paradigm in 60 years. And what changed is that we're migrating from telling the computer, draw me this rectangle, now put this here, move that there, write the typing stuff. And so command-based interactions, we're moving into just telling a computer what we want to achieve. And he calls it intent-based outcome specification. It sounds a bit pretentious, but what it means is that we're giving the computer a goal. I want you to create a picture for me that has a mountain in it and a river and the sun. And then it does it by itself. You don't have to show it how, like put here a yellow thing, a yellow circle, and then you can put a green triangle and you put it for it, like step by step. It understands where you're trying to get at, and then it automatically goes through those steps to achieve your goal. So with like he says, it completely reverses the locus of control. We're not in command anymore. The system is in command, and it's a completely different space to be designing in and to be designing for. Okay, so what are the challenges of designing for AI? I wish that I could have the answers as to how to overcome all of these. I have some idea. I don't have solutions for them. I just want to list the things that we might deal with as an industry and as individuals while we're designing solutions for AI. So the first one is that we're working with bias in the machine learning models, and probably a lot of interactions could have the societal bias that's simply reflected in data interfere with the quality of products we design. But I think that here we have some guardrails, we have some instruments, some strings. First of all, of course, the data should be as representative, as inclusive, as ethical as possible. So there's the responsibility of data scientists and people that are working to create these ML models to feed, clean up that data and make sure that it's good data, not data that's spreading discrimination and the things that are happening in society. So it's not the data's fault, right? It's the society's fault, but we can jump in and fix it. Not necessarily designers. I'm more like people who are working with feeding data in these machine learning models. But as designers, we could at least come up with ways in which we could guide this interaction to not be exclusive or discriminatory and so on. Like we could interfere in, let's say, Mid-Journey, we're giving it a prompt, show me a picture of a doctor, and then it shows a picture of a white male. We have to be able to fight that stereotype and maybe fix it in design, which is a bit problematic. I'm gonna touch later on why it's hard to design for like predicting what's going to happen in AI. Safety and security is the second one. And here I think we see multiple concerns. One of them is the biggest one, like the one that's going to end the world, is when artificial general intelligence is going to become not sentient, but like have a lot of agency, or will be given the wrong prompt, and then it will produce paper clips at the expense of making humanity doomed. So this is the worst thing. AI will end the world. I don't see it happening. I hope that somebody's thinking about it. But there are other safety concerns which feel more immediate. Like, for example, we've seen the examples maybe of Microsoft Bing, which became offensive and aggressive with some of their users after it was launched. And so they had to take it down. And security is also, some AI is deceivable. So if a person with bad intentions tries to exploit the system to harm other people, we're not very safe with that yet. So we don't understand a lot of things about what could happen. And so safety and security are fair concerns. I don't know how to fix that, but I know how to sort of operate with the next one, because I'm dealing with it on a regular basis in the design work I'm doing for Clipboard AI. I'm designing for probability. So this is very new to me, because AI has an unexpected behavior sometimes. We can call it hallucination, like the AI industry likes to call it, but it's non-deterministic. So in a classic product, let's say flow, if the user does this, then this, and this can happen. And they could get error 1, error 2, error 3. We know we can predict, because we design. That's why we can predict. We can design what's going to happen at any given step, and we can control the messages, the interaction, the experience. With AI, sometimes we don't know what the AI will do, the result it will return. If it's reliable, if it's just bogus, we don't know that. So we have to design in a way that sort of accommodates these surprises that will stem from the fact that AI is not predictable, right? It's non-deterministic. So this is an interesting question. I don't have the perfect answer yet, but I'm struggling with designing so that when GPT in our product does something that we didn't see happen, it's not super bad, or at least we try to counter balance it in the way we communicate to the user, maybe in a softer way, or just telling the user, hey, maybe refine that prompt because it seems like you're not in the place you were hoping for. Trust and transparency, a very important point. It seems that, and I think it's pretty fair, we can't really trust what we don't understand. So AI systems are not transparent to us because, of course, we would need a lot of technological knowledge to understand what's going on behind. But they're also like, sometimes you get this result and you don't know where it comes from. Is it, so I think what we can do as designers is try to create more trust by exposing some of the thinking process that went behind what the AI is doing. So in the case, let's take the example of ChatGPT. It gives me an answer. The answer kind of sounds right, but I'm not sure if I can trust it because I've seen it invent things that sound very proper. What we could do is add a layer that adds the sources, tells the steps that it shows some of the high-level steps that AI took to get to that answer and so on. So people have trouble trusting AI because they don't understand where AI is getting its results from. And I think as designers, we could like add a layer to that. Ownership and intellectual property is a super interesting debate. I love it. I feel that it's going to have a huge impact on society in general because I'm feeling that there's going to be a shift in what we value as a society. So I think that I love the example of thinking about Mona Lisa. So if we think about Mona Lisa, AI probably could recreate Mona Lisa completely or make it more beautiful or better or just a more impressive technically painting. But it won't be Mona Lisa. So if we look at the AI Mona Lisa, we're probably not going to feel too much. And if we look at the Da Vinci Mona Lisa, that's where we can feel that emotion. And that happens because it was made by Da Vinci hundreds of years ago. And since then, humanity has worshipped it. So it's the entire story. It's the narrative. It's the value in it. It's that it's human. It's very human. So this is how what I believe will happen, especially because ownership and intellectual property mostly ties into art. I feel that we will change our values, and many systems like Adobe Firefly is labeling, this is AI made, this is human made. So we will see this differentiation. I think there will be regulations in place that this becomes transparent. This was made by a person, this was made by AI. And so we will value when we see something that's made by a person, we can feel that it comes from pain, from suffering, from their experience, and so on. And so we will value different things. Because AI art and AI stuff will not be scarce, and so we will value what humans make. And yeah, so what are some opportunities? Let me check the time. I hope I'm on time with this. Opportunities. This is very exciting. Like in the products we design for, we'll have a lot of room to add new experiences, new levels of experiences, and I'm going to touch on a couple of those. Personalization is amazing. In the future, you can all envision a future where everybody has their own version of the internet. Essentially, we will all see a different UI that has different colors, that addresses my particular accessibility needs, that addresses my preferences, that's tied into like, I like this typeface, so it uses that typeface and whatever. So the internet will be personalized, products will be personalized to who I am, so that everybody will end up seeing their own version of apps, of products and websites and so on. And this is, I think, it's a bit scary. It's also very exciting to design for a world in which the UI is very personal. And also it ties into the second point, which is context. So with the help of AI, we'll get much better with our products and understanding what is the goal that person's trying to achieve. Like maybe they're in a search mode. So now they're in the search mode. So we can change the UI completely so it accommodates that particular goal at that particular moment. And then maybe we understand that the person is now trying to learn or focus on consuming heavier content. So then the UI changes again to accommodate that particular goal that user has. So what I'm talking about with these two first points is that we'll have, let's say, just-in-time digital products, or products that are ephemeral in a way. They can serve a certain need very specifically at any moment in time and just be extremely tailored to context and who you are. Efficiency, we've already seen it. Products are more efficient thanks to AI. A better understanding of user patterns. I'm not saying psychology, I'm saying patterns. Of course, with the help of AI, we can learn more about how the users and also AI is learning. So remember adaptivity. So we get better at interpreting what the users are doing. Testing is one of my favorites because with the help of AI, we are essentially transitioning towards becoming, and I hope everyone remembers this line because I love it, curators of design instead of generators of design. So if you don't want to, because if you want to, you can still do it. But if you don't want to, and even today, but it's not very reliable and beautiful, but in the future, you can definitely generate 10 versions of UI. And then it's like in an instant, you have 10 visual solutions, different visual solutions that you can then link in your whatever usability testing platform you're using, run a test, understand which of those UI versions perform best, and then pick one and refine it. So we will get better at testing because it will just happen faster. We can create prototypes faster. And that's incredible because essentially, if we get better at testing, we get better at understanding what works for our users. And that's what we're supposed to do. And automating stuff like customer support, error recognition, and so on. So what are some best practices when designing for AI? Very quickly, because I think I am talking too much because I'm too enthusiastic. Best practices: establish trust. Getting back to my point about trust and transparency, show competence, show that you're a good system, that you want their good, make sure that you have good intentions embedded in your product as much as possible. The second one is start with the user. This is a, let's say, mantra that we all have in the design industry since forever, but I think it became even more important in the age of AI. Because a lot of people are now technology driven. Oh, let's do this because we can. Let's do this AI thing. Let's build a product around this AI capability because we can do it. And I think that's not enough. Especially as designers, we need to stop at every point of the process and ask ourselves, should we build this? Does any user need it? I mean, it's technologically possible, but is it useful? Is it valuable? Is it doing good? So start with the user and keep the user at the center of whatever it is you're doing, even more than before the age of AI, the age of AI popularity. Help your users grow. I think this is a beautiful one because it goes both ways. So AI systems learn from how the user is using them, but we also need to teach the user how to use the systems in the best way possible, in the most productive, in the most efficient, in the most beautiful way possible. So teach your users, and then the users will teach you and us as designers, and then it's just a learning loop and a partnership. If we go back to the idea of AI as a partner, build for everyone, make sure that you're building inclusive products, make sure that whatever it is you're building can be used by everyone, because I don't understand them very deeply, but the industry has concerns around how accessible AI is, because of its unpredictability, it's pretty hard to understand how it can exclude some users. And now another resource, write it down, uxofai.com. It gives a very good list of principles to apply when you're designing for AI, and a couple of other resources are linked in there. So I not affiliated, like not with any of the things here. Go check it out. Big companies, and I'm especially interested in what big companies are doing in the space of AI. Google has a space that's called PAIR, P-A-I-R, pair, like pairing. Microsoft has a place where they share the work they're doing in the AI and design space. IBM has one. So if you visit these websites, they have a lot of resources. They have patterns. They have libraries of interesting content, studies, case studies, and so on. So make sure to check out these places because, of course, they have more resources. They have people that are spending time in this space and doing research and so on. Now, designing with AI. This is already happening. Some of you might already know what's going on. I've imagined here an example process, but what's most interesting when you're looking at this slide is that the person running this process is still us. So even if this process is completely generated by AI, putting it together, the pieces come together thanks to our systems thinking and our critical thinking. So this doesn't mean that every stage of the design process can be replaced by AI, but what it means is that we can augment different stages of the design process, some better than others, some more reliable than others, but we can already do it in our work. So here I just imagined, let's say, running interviews with other AI, generating automated transcripts, and then putting those transcripts into tools like Research AI that analyze your data, or even GPT could extract in the main insights. Some tools perform sentiment and intent analysis. You can write problem statements with ChatGPT as your co-creator, your brainstorming partner. Same for ideating solutions, defining a feature list in co-creation with GPT. There are a lot of tools that are solving the part where we're doing wireframes and UI design. UWizard has been turning paper sketches into UI for a long time now, creating color palettes supported by AI. Of course, generating iconography, mockups, imagery, and whatever with tools like Midjourney, DALL-E, and so on. UX writing can be powered by tools like Copy AI or Jasper AI or GPT directly. Testing with users, a lot of tools are doing that. There's even a tool called Synthetic Users, which will provide you with AI users. The AI users are essentially based in archetypes or personas or demographical constructs of the people you're targeting. But it's a bit sketchy, but I definitely recommend playing around with it just for the sake of learning. So this is just a small selection of the tools you can use at different parts of the design process. Ideation, I think, is the part which will get replaced last, because for ideation, you need a lot of critical thinking and making connections and putting the pieces together. So I don't think the tools can support you in that, but they can't replace, like they can replace, for example, icon generation. And I want to recommend here another place. It's called Futurepedia. It's an aggregator of AI tools, so you can stay up to date with whatever appears and new things in the AI tool space. And algorithms.design is another place that has a curated selection, and I think it's pretty interesting to check out. So Personally, I'm a big fan of working in big companies. I've always loved being an employee in a big structure. I don't know why. I'm passionate about the relationships that go on. And so I'm pretty interested in how big companies are embedding AI officially and at scale in their processes, in their frameworks, in the way they work, in the way their design teams collaborate, and overall in the design systems and so on. And I'm gonna give, for the sake of time efficiency, just one example of Uber. At Schema conference by Figma last year in November, they showed a solution. They showed a couple of AI capabilities that they're adding to their design system. One of them is Design Finder. So essentially what they're doing for their teams is that they can now add a screenshot in a search area, and then it can point you towards the Figma file of that particular screenshot that you added, and then you can get to the editable part and start working on it very quickly without having to ask 10 people, where's the file that has the, I don't know, settings page. So this is pretty useful. Another way, which is another layer, which is, or let's say application, which is even more useful, is that you can now, they're building a capability of text to design in their design system. So essentially what their designers will do, or probably are already doing, is just telling the system, add one header, 3 list items, 1 dock bottom in an iPhone frame, and then boom, it's generated in the design language that they have. So the designer could maybe just refine it, or a very quick way of exemplifying, of having your ideas come to life, but the ideas still matter. And now 5 more minutes, hopefully I have 2 more minutes. How to stay relevant in the market, in this market. Martin Neumeyer proposes a robot curve. You can read more about it. Essentially splits work into 4 main things: creative work, which is the highest form of intellectual work; skilled work, talent, people, specialists, and so on; rote work, which is outsourceable and interchangeable; and robotic work that's already being automated. So if you think in this framework, what he proposes, if you want to stay relevant, is either moving your skills towards up the creative and skilled work, like making sure that you're becoming more strategic, that you're working on your critical thinking skills, doing high-level thinking, and being able to abstractize and then turn into reality. Or you can start designing products and solutions for this space. So these are 2 ways in which your, let's say, professional safety will be ensured in the future. And other skills, this is also a framework proposed by him. He splits it into 5 main categories: feeling, which is empathy, intuition, and the humanness I was mentioning early; seeing, so seeing how the parts fit together, making connections, what I call systems thinking; dreaming, applied imagination to think of something new. That's something that only us as humans can do yet. Making, like making things with our hands and putting them together, prototyping, testing, and learning. Work on these ones. And a couple of ideas about how to have, what mindset we should have as designers in this world. Keep an open mind. I know it might be scary for some parts. It can be like, I don't even want to have a career as a designer if UI will be generated by systems. That's okay. We will be curators of design instead of generators of design. And whoever wants to generate design will still be able to do it. AI is your partner. It's an exoskeleton to your work. It's an augmentation to what you're doing. We will become thinkers more than makers if we want that. Remember that humanness aspect, which I don't know how to define very well, but I can feel it. And I hope that at least some of you can feel it as well. And overall, just experiment with AI. And my last thoughts, closing thoughts, use AI products. I cannot emphasize how interesting, how fun, how mind-opening it is to just go on in Midjourney, Discord, create design, or just talk with ChatGPT and so on. Ben's Bites is a newsletter I want to recommend everyone. This is how I keep up to date with industry news from AI. It's a super cool newsletter. I think it's the biggest in AI. Embrace this revolution. Think of AI as a partner. Think of yourself as a curator of design. Think of the word augmentation. Focus on making sure that in your teams and on the projects you work on, everything is user-driven, not technology-driven. And the last one here, I'm leaving ethics actually as the last one, but 1 hour of AI per week means that I think that we should all set aside 1 or 2 hours every week where we sit down, read about AI and design, play with AI tools, just keeping our mind in sync with everybody feels overwhelmed by what's going on. I can't keep up. Nobody can keep up with like hundreds of products coming up every day and news and everything. And now we all know Photoshop has AI thanks to Firefly and so on. So every day something new happens. And then the most important part is ethics, because nobody is focused on ethics, or not nobody. Few people in the tech industry are focused on ethics. Everybody's focused on technological progress and winning the AI race. And as designers, we are the ones, and I want to empower everyone and myself to know that we have the power to bring ethics, to like put a break on everything and just ask everyone, do we need this tool in our lives? Do people need it? Is this ethical? Is it good for humanity? Is it good for a person, or is it doing more harm? Let's just stop for a while and as designers have these conversations. So thanks to everyone who's here. I hope you got some nuggets of stuff that you can dive deeper into. A lot of ideas merged together. Hopefully it was useful. Let's take questions.
Ioana, I'm just going to ask you to stop sharing your screen so everyone can see
me.
Your beautiful face. I'm allowed to see that. I have to say, everybody, this is probably one of the best online chats I've ever been part of. I really felt like I was in a party here. And so I had to jump in and join you all a little bit. This was beyond my expectations. So thank you for creating this incredible online community and engagement. It really was incredible. And Ioana, there are so many questions for you. Like I can't. But Thomas has organized them for us. So we're going to do as many as we can in the next 10 minutes. So
I'm just my mouth is open because I'm reading the chat. I'm just emotional. I just want to ask the Hotjar team, can we export this chat, please? And so I can keep it and cherish it. Thank you so much for the feedback.
We are going to make sure that that's possible for you, because I want to go through it too. I'm also feeling emotional as well. So it's okay. We're both the two empaths here. So it's all good. Okay, let's start. Question for Ioana. What skills should tomorrow's designers hone in on to secure a seat at the leadership's table in an AI world?
Okay, so interesting question. This is more about how to combine, let me see if I read it correctly, how to combine the skills and understanding AI with getting a seat at the leadership table, like influencing what goes on in your company. I think that here there's a mix of the new things, like really understanding AI. What does it mean? Like, you will never fully understand AI, even if you work in parts of the AI field. Even as an engineer, you won't fully grasp what's happening. So have a good understanding of how AI is impacting society and product design and products in general, even more than the product design process, but products in general. And then if you have that understanding of what it means for people, and you feel confident to talk about it, start talking about it in your company. You can even, and somehow I'm doing it like because I'm passionate about AI now. I talk about it a lot. And so people start coming to me to ask about AI stuff. Do this in your company. Spend time learning, invest that 1, 2, 3 hours per week, every week, and then start doing it in your company. Start talking about it. Of course, if there's a place for it, right? So if your company has nothing to do with AI, you might look a bit strange starting to talk about AI everywhere. But if there is an opportunity in product leadership, in the engineering team leadership, whatever, if there's an opportunity for, let's consider how we want to position our product in the age of AI. Let's consider whether we want to embed some AI capabilities or just become fully AI first, like it was mobile first in the past. Now we're going to be AI first. So, and also socialize your insights. I think that's super important. So getting a seat at the table, go where they are, go to the table and start socializing the insights that have to do with product strategy. So I can talk a lot more about it, but I want to make room for another question. So whoever asked that question, please reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can unpack it even more.
I'm already thinking about a part 2. You know this, Ioana. A part 2 session. Okay, here's a great question. And I know a lot of our audience would love to know the answer to this as well. Can you give us some real life examples of how you are using AI in your day-to-day design work?
Yeah, of course. Well, one of them is obviously ChatGPT. It's really funny that when I started designing for my product Clipboard AI, we were using GPT. So my team and engineering team, they introduced me. There's this tool that kind of, in a way, read all the internet, and now we can do a lot of things, and it's super capable. And we're using it in our product. And then I went on OpenAI's playground and I started playing with it firsthand, and it felt like I discovered this amazing secret that's going to make me super valuable and super productive, and I'm just going to be irreplaceable with the power of my secret. But then, like in 1 or 2 months, everybody knew about ChatGPT because it was just launched, and we've seen the success story. So, and that's great. I mean, I hope everyone uses it with some caution, right? Don't take everything ChatGPT says for granted. But I'm using it as a brainstorming partner. I'm using it to help me sometimes generate text for the design I'm proposing, to replace lorem ipsum with something that's more valuable. Sometimes I've played around with creating iconography for my products using Midjourney. Let me think. I've also used Copy AI for more complex content needs, but this is more on my creator kind of side. Let's see, design. Mostly ChatGPT for brainstorming and image generation tools. I think I've played around with some research tools as well, but I'm not sure. I have the most reluctancy in how we use research, because research, I think, is the one that should still remain in our control as much as possible. So yeah, I think the classic ones, the usual suspects, right?
And I love what you say about making it your partner, because I wrote this down as well. AI will not replace us, but someone using AI will. So it's that collaboration with AI, I think was a big takeaway probably for a lot of us here.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another great question. An important part of UX design is creating inclusive solutions. How can designers ensure that AI-powered UX solutions are fair, inclusive, and respectful of diverse user populations?
I love this question. And I think the answer is pretty tough, because of the non-deterministic quality of AI, we can't really control what's going on. And because we can't control, we're in the state with, let's say, perpetual surprises or perpetual edge cases, or even a perpetual opportunity for discrimination and less inclusive behaviors. So I think that what we can do as designers is try to counterbalance that and expand the way we test for accessibility. So let's say the accessibility passes we're doing, try to include a representative when we're doing usability testing, where we're exposing, or even when we're thinking about solutions even further behind in the process. We should focus more on representation and making sure that AI could work for categories of people that we should always consider, but even more so in this. So my answer would be to be more specific. More research essentially is what's happening. Like, talk to more categories of accessibility issues, include more representation. And when you're like, we're not going to be able to get away with just passing the WCAG accessibility standards and then doing some usability testing with 10 people. In the age of AI, we need to include more people in what we test so that we can uncover the ways in which AI discriminates, to our surprise sometimes, or is doing uninclusive things, and we can hopefully intervene to fix them and make sure that everyone can use it, because this is the end goal, right?
Perfect. We have time for one more quick question.
Yes.
Great question. Ioana, how do you strike the right balance between automation and human intuition or creativity? And are there certain aspects of UX's design that should only remain in the hands of human designers? So we want to keep AI out of this.
Yeah, it's a good question. Can you read the first part again? So how do you balance? Because I feel it's two questions.
Yeah. How do you strike the right balance between automation and human intuition or creativity?
Yeah. You use your human intuition to strike the right balance. So I think that that's actually a pretty good answer, because essentially what you're doing is, especially if you're a senior designer, it's easier. I think it's harder in your first years because you're also grappling with understanding the design process, and now all these AI layers, it's double unknown. Mm-hmm. As a senior designer, it's easier to understand, oh, this is very human. Like this is a part where I will think independently, or maybe I will inform some of my thinking with AI, but I'm the decision maker. I'm the driver in this part more than I'm the driver in creating UI design. You can be the driver there as well. So I would say that it ties into your intuition. And the parts that are not replaceable or shouldn't be replaceable, I think have to do with, let's say, ends of the process. Like, what is the problem we're trying to solve? This is something that should be in our hands, really understanding context, understanding where did that problem come from, who's the group that's most affected by it, who are other groups, what are we doing here, why are we starting this, and then inform the things that you'll be doing from that point on with AI if you want it, but you have to start the thinking in a way by yourself. So I don't believe in a future where you go on ChatGPT and tell them, GPT, tell me about some user problems, and then you pick one and then you solve that. I'm not sure that's gonna work. I think we are the ones who should start the process intentionally. So the start is in our hands, it should always be. And then also at the end, make sure that this is a product that was supposed to be built. Hopefully you're doing it earlier, but this product is useful before shipping it. Checking with users, like I said earlier, you said through the question, it's inclusive, it's accessible, people can use it, people will not be harmed by it. Again, not many things are not preventable. You can imagine that Microsoft wouldn't have released Bing if it would have been such a huge hit in their public perception because of how it became offensive very quickly. So you can't predict everything. That's in a way the magic and the curse of AI. It's not reliable in what it will deliver, but at the end we have to make sure, like, really apply critical thinking. Is this product as it turned out to be something that's needed and designed as it should and working and bringing the value in the world as we intended when we started this process. So I hope that makes sense. And then everything in between, some key points, there are some key moments where, again, you should keep it like deciding what's the solution we're going for. Don't let AI do that. You should decide what's the solution you're going to start building or exploring deeper. So I hope I answered like hands and in the meeting.
There are so many questions, but we can chat offline about, maybe round 2 and what we're going to do with all this great stuff. And Ioana, this was incredible. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And as we can see in the chat, it was so informative. I can see someone just asked, can we get an article? Can we get the presentation? Can we get the recording? So let's keep this conversation going and let's keep this engagement going, because this is how we're all going to work together with AI and make it together, right? As partners. So thank you, Ioana. I know some of you may be wondering what Hotjar is doing with respect to AI, and we're working on some really incredible features right now. Our CEO, Mohamed, will be speaking next month about that on June 15th. And I know Thomas is going to put the link to that event in the chat. I can't see the chat right now, so maybe it's already in there. And so we hope as many of you who joined this session today are interested in more AI. So let's keep it going. And for those of you looking to find Ioana, please go to LinkedIn and or Instagram /UX goodies. And don't worry, we'll have our YouTube channel pumped with all this information, so you'll be able to find her no problem.
Thank you so much for the invitation. And I'm actually emotional because I'm going through the comments. It's just like, oh my God, I'm so happy I got the chance to meet so many people. I hope many of you will add me on LinkedIn or somewhere. We can take it from there. I'm actually going on holiday tomorrow, so I might be a bit unresponsive, but I would love to have more conversations about it. As you can see, very excited about AI and design, and I'm sharing your excitement now, and it's just this amazing feedback loop. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you all soon. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.